Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Paris from Arise to the Top, the Entrepreneur's Hub. We are doing 5 days of funding this week. So every day this week, we will have a session on one of the forms of funding that you can get for your small business. And it will be focused on, like I said, just one per day because there's so much entailed with each one. I'll either be going live or I'll be posting a video between 12 and 2 every day this week. So this is for small businesses, independent contractors, sole proprietors, self-employed, pretty much the businesses that are under 500 employees is what this funding applies to. So today we're going to talk about the Paycheck Protection Program. We're on day one, and this is April 6, 2020. And I'm only stating the date because, as you guys know, everything has been changing every single day with this funding. I'm going to focus on the Paycheck Protection Program only because it's first come, first serve, and there's a cap. And as of today, I want to say they're over halfway to that cap on their program. So want to get this out there so you guys can apply as soon as possible. As you'll see, as we get into this, banks have already stopped taking applications. Some of them have, like Wells Fargo and a few others, because it's reached its capacity. So let's get started. Oh yes, one more thing before we do get started. Down in the description box below, you will see any links that I have for the things that we speak about. Particularly, you'll see the email wrap-up link, and for those of you that have signed up, you know you've been getting the emails about the funding and different things already. But if you do want to sign up for the email wrap-ups, which is pretty much us just sending you the information that you get in the videos along with links to any PDFs or information that I'm giving you, just sign up on the email wrap-up sheet below. All right, let's get started. Okay, so the Payment Protection Program is pretty much a program, it's part of the Coronavirus Relief CARES Act. So they're giving $350 billion to provide small businesses with 8 weeks of cash flow assistance is what the point of it is. And it's 100% federally funded, guaranteed loans. These loans can be forgiven if the funds are used for things like payroll costs, interest on mortgages, rent, and utilities. A specific percentage of it will be funded. If you can partially use your funds for these things, then you'll be partially forgiven. So it's essentially making it like a grant rather than a loan if you're eligible for forgiveness. Also, the payments on these loans, they're deferred for 6 months on the Paycheck Protection Program. You don't have to use any collateral, nor do you have to have a personal guarantee on this. No PG required. There are no fees charged to apply for this. You can, like I said, use it on rent, utilities, interest on mortgages. The point of this program was really for the payroll part of it. And they wanted to pretty much prevent all these job losses that are occurring. So they're giving funding so that businesses can afford to keep paying their workers, thus being less people laid off. Now, from what they're saying, as of today, you cannot get unemployment and get funding from the Paycheck Protection Program. So you will have to see which one would benefit you more. And this is mainly for those that are self-employed and independent contractors and those sorts of things, because, you know, there is a stipulation in the bill in which self-employed contractors are now eligible for unemployment. But we'll do that one on another day. So forgiveness is based on you maintaining or quickly rehiring the employees and maintaining them at their same salary level. Forgiveness is not automatic on these loans. So if you get approved for these loans, know that you'll have to apply for the forgiveness part as well. You'll also have to provide proof that you maintain the same amount of employees at the same salary point. If your full-time headcount does decline, or if the salaries or wage decrease, it's not that the loan won't be forgiven at all, but the whole loan won't be forgiven. It'll be a percentage. Also, do know that with this PPP program, if you do get the $10,000 EIDL grant, and we'll talk about that probably tomorrow, that will be deducted from the amount of your loan that is forgiven here. So be careful with that. The interest rate on the loan is supposed to be 1% for this Paycheck Protection Program. These links, I have the application link, the detailed information for this, and then more information about the program. Again, these links I'll give you in the email wrap up so that you can have access to all of this yourself as well. All right, so who can apply for this program? The program is pretty much for any small businesses with less than 500 employees. This does include sole proprietorships, contractors, and self-employed. I get a lot of people have been asking, if you don't have payroll, if you don't pay anybody, can you apply? Are you eligible? Yes, you are still eligible even if you have no payroll. Also, if you pay contractors, though, that's not considered payroll. For the purposes of this loan, the contractor payments do not count in your payroll count. If you are S or a C Corp, if your company is an LLC with an S or a C Corp, which if you're with the Rise Virtual Solutions as an IBO, a lot of those companies are, since that is a stipulation to be an IBO, you have to have paid yourself out on payroll for this. All right, so for small businesses that are in the hospitality and food industry, even if you have more than one location, as long as your individual locations employ less than 500 workers overall, you should still be good to go. For sole proprietors, you'll need your Schedule C that you filed with your tax return. And independent contractors, you should have 1099 miscellaneous forms as well. If you drive Uber, Lyft, Instacart, Grubhub, Moving Meals, there's a ton of companies I can't think about the top of my head, but those types of companies, those delivery service companies, I'm sure there's several that I don't know of that I haven't named. You are, they're calling it a gig economy worker. You are eligible for this as well. So pretty much the only stipulation that they're giving with this is that your business had to have been operational as of February 15, 2020. If you started the business after that, you won't be eligible for any of these programs. But as long as you were in business prior to February 15, 2020, or you were servicing as a contractor, a gig economy worker, sole proprietor, small business, you can apply. Now, if you have multiple businesses, you can also apply for each company as long as each business has their own EIN. And as a contractor or a sole proprietor, you can also use your Social Security number on one application. You can apply once under your Social Security number. And if you have multiple companies, then you can apply under each one that has a separate EIN. For those of you that have multiple companies under a DBA, that your DBAs don't have separate EINs usually. So if they do not have separate EINs, then you'll have to apply under the one EIN under the company's name, not the DBA. So as far as applying, what you need to apply is, again, you had to have been in business before February 15, 2020, and you'll have to prove that the coronavirus pretty much impacted your company and your income. Again, this is focusing on payroll, so they really have a big focus on keeping your people employed that you pay. But you will be able to use this for other things, so payroll won't be the only thing that they're looking at. This is a first come, first served basis, as I told you in the beginning of the video, which is why we are doing it now, because the funds are running out. Now, Donald Trump did say that if the funds ran out, he would go back to Congress to try to get some more funding, but that's not a guarantee. So you'll want to do this. As soon as you finish watching this video, go ahead and start looking to apply. These links, as far as what you'll be asked to verify, and I said the links to these websites will be in that email wrap-up as well. You'll need to prove your payroll. And like I said, and a lot of the things that they're going to be asking you for, you can verify with the taxes that you filed. You'll have to provide documentation that verifies the number of full-time employees that you have on payroll, your covered mortgage interest payments, covered rent payments, and covered utilities for 8 weeks. They will back pay, from what I read, from February 15th as well. Also, no fraud. So the tax documents need to be legit and match the ones that you filed. Now, each bank will probably ask you for different documentation. I myself, I have 4 companies under 4 different banks, and I've gone through 3 of them already because one of them was not accepting applicants yet. And they all asked me for different things. My taxes was one of them. One of them asked me for a breakdown of my expenses. So like my expense sheets for the company. What else did they ask me for? They asked me for proof of payroll. I forgot what that form number was, but there's a form that you can print out that shows your payroll stuff and the amount that you've paid so far this year, in addition to your tax form. So yeah, the payroll processing records, pretty much. And then I did have to turn in my tax filings as well. For those of you that file quarterly, you can, the first quarter just ended. So they will probably be asking you for that as well. With the loan forgiveness, as I was telling you guys, you can get your loan forgiven if your expenses related to what you spent the money on are payroll, mortgage interest, rent, and utilities. All of this stuff has to have been in effect before February 15th, though. So you can't go sign a lease today and then get the payments, make payments towards your new lease. You'll also need to have spent at least 75% of your loan on payroll in order to qualify for forgiveness. So 75% of the loan needs to have been spent on payroll. And as a contractor, that still applies to you, the self-employed contractors, because they're going to be looking at your income from your taxes. So it needs to be spent paying you. And then the other 25 can be spent on these other things. If I were you, I would even think about putting the funds in a separate account when you get them, so that it will be easier for you to prove. Like if you have another business checking account or something, or maybe open another business checking account once you get the funds, and only put those funds in that account until they run out. And then it'll be easy for you to pull your bank statement and prove what the money was spent on when it comes time for you to apply for loan forgiveness. You don't want to get these loans and then don't have what you need to get forgiven, and now you're stuck paying. But if you do not get it all forgiven, like I said, your payments are deferred for 6 months anyway. The form, then there goes the payroll tax form number, the 941, 940, and W-3. All right, so let's keep moving forward. Banks that are currently accepting applicants. So this is where the tricky part is getting, you guys. So at down to the minute, banks are shutting down who they're accepting, what they're accepting, and this is the tricky part where you'll actually have to do some research. From what I've researched as of about an hour ago, Wells Fargo stopped accepting applications last night. They, if you applied to Wells Fargo for the PPP program after April 5th, which was yesterday, you will not be approved. They're not taking any more applicants, and it's unfortunate because they have a huge small business base. So Bank of America is still currently accepting applicants online. Chase, they were, except Friday, they did take online inquiries where they accepted your information. And then they were going to notify you, a representative is to be in touch with you. And then they let you know what documentation you need to be able to provide. But as of right now, April 6th, Monday, their site says they're currently not accepting. They said the site will be back up shortly. They're trying to improve the process. So that's Chase. Ameris Bank is accepting applicants, but only from their current account holders. SBA approved lenders, you can look for those too. And I have the links right here. Again, they'll be in your email wrap up. That the SBA has a website where you can go and see who their approved lenders are. What I will say is not everyone on there is accepting applicants. The list is not all the way accurate, unfortunately, but you can get an idea with who has been approved at this point. So let me see if I have that up here. Not yet. All right, I'll show you guys. Give me a sec. This is what it looks like. But as I just told you, Wells Fargo, Chase, and a few others have stopped taking applicants. All right, so this is the site. And pretty much you just put a zip code in, and I was just going through putting one in. And it'll give you the banks that are around you. So what you can do with this is at least you know who is approving. You can take this list, let's see, and just call the banks that are on there. And see if they're approved. Call your local community banks. There are a lot of smaller banks that have been taking applications as well, and that are eligible for accepting applicants. Now, you may find that a lot of banks are being particular about who they accept. So you may have to have had an account with them or have one. And a lot of them, you have to have had one before February the 15th. So some people are trying to open bank accounts at banks that are accepting them. You still may not be able to apply opening a new account now. So ask about that information. There's a link right here from Fundera, and they are saying that they have a list of banks that are accepting. This list was updated yesterday. So I'm going to put this in the email wrap up too, so that you guys can use that to look for it. Like I said, no one really has a 100% answer on anything, not even the banks. We're just kind of putting videos out there, myself and several others, to kind of give you a direction to head in. So use this link to see who's been approved. Call them and see, or you don't even have to just call them. A lot of them have the information on their website. So go on the different bank websites and see. But either way, get in there and find places to apply now. These funds, again, they're first come, first serve. You don't want them to run out before you at least get an application in. And they've been tweeting I know they tweeted Friday, I believe yesterday, about how much money has been approved. And I want to say they're almost at the halfway mark already. And applications just opened Friday. Now, initially, self-employed and independent contractors were not able to apply until April the 10th. That is what they said as of Friday. But I would say just go ahead and apply, because right now everybody's just sending stuff in. So go ahead and apply and just see what happens. You don't have the money right now anyway. So the worst thing that can happen is that they say no. There are two really good Facebook, well, there's probably several, but these two I have been following. Facebook groups for this funding. The links, again, will be in the email wrap-up, but I will put them on here just in case you don't sign up for the email wrap-up, and you can find them by name. All right. SBA Disaster Recovery Loans is the first Facebook group that has been given up-to-date, excellent information. And then Small Biz Guide to SBA Disaster Recovery Act. This is another amazing group that has been like keeping up and putting current information on there. So again, you guys, get busy with applying today. It's almost 3 o'clock. Banks are still open. Make the calls. You're going to have to put the effort in for this. No one's going to really be able to tell you, you know, how to do what. You're going to have to call around. All banks are doing things differently. They're asking for different documents. Look online. Like I said, call them. Do what you need to do to get this stuff done, but get it done within today and tomorrow, or else you may not be able to apply. As you see, banks are already shutting down. I also have the link for the actual application, which is right here. I'll have that in the email wrap-up, so you can go ahead and download the application and fill it out. The application will also tell you some of the things that you need to know. And all of this is on the SBA.gov website as well. So it's all within reach. Here's the application. I'm going to put the link in the email wrap-up. Print it up, fill it out. If you're applying with more than one bank, make more than one copy so you don't have to, you know, keep printing it over and over. Some banks, like Bank of America, has a stipulation that you can't be applying for funding with any other bank to apply for theirs. So be careful with that as well. All right, you guys. So tomorrow I will be back with a short segment on a breakdown for the EIDL loan and the $10,000 grant, which hopefully you guys applied for when I did the last video. If not, go to the last video. It's the SBA funding EIDL loan video with the walkthrough of applying for the $10,000 grant. Go, and if you haven't applied for that, apply. As I stated, the worst thing that can happen is that it's, you know, you're told no, but apply for these things. It's out there, apply for them. You don't have the money. The best thing that can happen is that you get the money. Get your documents in order, your taxes, your finances, your expenses. Know your numbers. You have to know your numbers. If you don't hire employees, remember, it's okay. Still apply. You don't have to. As long as you, as a contractor, have your 1099, you'll have, you know, self-employed, you have your Schedule C on your taxes. All of that can be used for verification to get this loan. All right, if you have any questions, definitely comment in the box below, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Again, at 12 o'clock for the EIDL and $10,000 grant breakdown. Have a wonderful day and get up and apply like right now.